I still remember the smell of his cologne that morning. Fresh linen and arrogance. It was just past 8 a.m. I had come downstairs, still wearing my silk robe, half asleep and expecting coffee, our usual routine. But instead of a kiss or a good morning, he placed a manila envelope on the table like it was an invitation. I opened it with a strange stillness, the kind you feel just before a hurricane makes landfall. Divorce papers. You're divorcing me? My voice cracked more out of confusion than heartbreak. He didn't flinch. I'm tired, Mia. Tired of pretending we're okay. I've found someone who makes me feel alive. Alive. That word stuck like glass in my throat. Her name was Erica. Half my age. Some assistant he met during a conference. I remembered when he started working late, coming home smelling of strange perfume and excuses. But I never thought he'd throw me out. That he'd replace me like expired milk. I need you out by the weekend, he said, sipping his coffee. She's moving in. I stood there in my own home, my sanctuary, and watched as the man I built a life with discarded me like I was nothing but a placeholder. And still. I didn't cry. Not yet. Because deep down, something else stirred. A name. A document. A clause. He always underestimated me. Even when we signed the prenup, he called it a formality. But I was the one with the foresight. With a grandmother who insisted on protecting me. Who told me, Mia, love is beautiful, but money changes people. Protect yourself. So, I did. Our prenuptial agreement had a clause meticulously crafted with my grandmother's legal team. It stated that if he cheated or moved a romantic partner into our home before finalizing the divorce, I had the right to immediate property liquidation and sole proceeds from the sale. And he signed it. With a smirk. Thinking it would never matter. That night, after he smirked and asked if I'd like help packing, I didn't say a word. I just took a long shower, dried my hair, and made 3 calls. First, my lawyer. Second, a real estate agent who owed my grandmother a favor. Third, my grandmother's old friend from the title office. By morning, I had everything lined up. The documents were in motion. He had no idea that every smug word he spoke, every step he took with that woman inside my house, was costing him the very roof over his head. He didn't know I was coming back with fire in my heels and a buyer in tow. And when I did, I made sure he saw that I wasn't the woman he threw out. I was the woman who owned the floor he stood on. I arrived at the house at 10 a.m. sharp the next morning, heels clicking, sunglasses on, posture unshaken. With me, my lawyer, Ms. Clark, a woman with a spine made of steel and stilettos sharper than her tongue. A real estate investor who had already drafted the offer papers and, of course, my confidence. The kind forged in betrayal, sharpened by preparation. When I rang the bell, I half expected him not to answer. But there he was, barefoot, shirtless, his hair tousled. She was behind him, wrapped in my robe. He laughed when he saw me. Forgot something? No, I said. But you did. Miss Clark handed him the legal papers. You violated Clause 7B of the prenuptial agreement. By moving in your mistress prior to finalizing the divorce. You forfeited all rights to the marital property. He blinked. What the hell is this? The house is mine, I said simply. I'm selling it. Today. Erica stepped forward, still clinging to my robe like it gave her any right to be part of this moment. You can't do that, he stammered. I live here. Correction, you lived here. You see, I never left this house. Legally, I was still the primary resident. And thanks to your little stunt, you broke the clause that protected everything. The investor handed him the purchase agreement. It was all real. Final. A sale that couldn't be stopped unless he wanted to drag it into a courtroom he'd already lost. I gave you everything, I said, my voice quiet but cutting. my loyalty, my love, and even the benefit of the doubt. And you gave me divorce papers and an eviction notice. He stood there stunned, naked, figuratively and almost literally. His pride crumbled faster than the smile on his mistress's face. Within 2 hours, the buyer did a walkthrough. My husband followed us like a ghost, hovering, trying to argue, trying to make sense of the downfall he orchestrated. I ignored him. I was too busy reclaiming my space, opening drawers, pointing out the renovations I paid for. This is Italian marble, I told the buyer. Imported. Took 6 weeks to arrive. Beautiful craftsmanship, the buyer noted. He leaned in and asked quietly, "You sure you want to part with this place?" I smiled. This house was built on love I gave and disrespect I received. I'm ready for something better. Meanwhile, my husband kept muttering, "You can't do this. You can't do this to me." Oh, but I could. And I was. He followed me out to the driveway when the investor left, flailing between apology and fury. "Mia, come on. This doesn't have to be ugly. We can talk. Work it out." Now he wanted civility. Now he remembered my name without bitterness. "I'm not here to fix what you shattered," I told him. "I'm here to collect what's mine and leave you with what you deserve." His hands shook as he reached for me, but Ms. Clark stepped between us. "Don't." Erica finally emerged, her suitcase dragging behind her. Apparently, she had just learned the house she thought she inherited wasn't his to give. She looked at me like she wanted to say something, but I just turned and walked away. Because that was the day I stopped being someone's afterthought. That was the day I became unshakable. It's funny how silence sounds different when you're free. No more tension-filled dinners. No more pretending not to notice lipstick stains on shirt collars or the cold distance between us in bed. No more compromising myself just to keep a marriage alive that had flatlined long ago. After selling the house, I moved into a gorgeous loft in the city, bright windows, clean lines, and not a single ghost of him anywhere. It was mine. Paid in full. And it became a sanctuary. I threw myself into work. I'd always been good at managing operations at the firm, but now I poured every ounce of pain into building something that could never be taken away. I began speaking at women's leadership events. I invested in a wellness startup run by 2 brilliant young women. I took pottery classes. I laughed again, really laughed. My phone buzzed constantly at first. Missed calls from him. Texts that began with "We need to talk" and ended with "You ruined everything." He showed up at my office once. "You can't ignore me forever," he said, wearing the same tired cologne, only now it smelled like desperation. I stood in front of him, calm and collected. "Watch me." He didn't realize the woman he kicked out wasn't just rebuilding, she was reborn. That's when it got weird. He started showing up places I never expected. A coffee shop 2 blocks from my office. A gym I'd recently joined. He'd lurk, not confront me outright, but just be there. Watching. Like a sad shadow of my past. He even called my assistant at work, pretending to be a potential client. That's when I finally blocked him on every platform, reported his number, and had security looped in at work. Then, one evening, I got a call from Erica. I hesitated before answering, curiosity getting the better of me. "You need to know he's losing it," she said. "He drinks all day. He won't stop talking about you, like you're some ghost that haunts him." She didn't ask for sympathy, and I didn't offer it. But she said something that stuck with me: "He thought you were weak. That's why he felt so confident walking all over you." I stayed quiet for a moment. Well, now he gets to live with the woman he thought I was. And the reality of who I became. I hung up and sat by the window, watching the city pulse with energy. He had made his choice. And now he could live in the ruins of it. It started with a letter. Handwritten. Messy. reeking of cologne I used to like, now a scent that triggered a bad taste in my mouth. Mia, I know I made mistakes. I was confused. I thought I wanted something else. I was under pressure. You were always distant. Maybe we both failed. But I miss you. I miss us. Please give me a chance to talk, really talk. I'm not okay without you. I stared at the letter for a few minutes, then placed it back in the envelope. Didn't shred it. Didn't burn it. Just put it in a drawer labeled lessons. A few days later, I saw him again. This time outside my building. He looked pathetic. Slouched posture, bags under his eyes, clearly drinking too much. Even in that state, his voice carried entitlement. Mia, can we just talk? There's nothing to talk about, I said without slowing down. I'm sorry, all right? He called after me. I made a mistake. You threw away everything because of one night I turned. One night? You handed me divorce papers like a FedEx package and moved your mistress into our house. You think that was a mistake? No, that was a decision. One that cost you everything. He opened his mouth to argue. But I cut him off with a calm smile. Here's the thing, Adam. You didn't expect me to survive. You certainly didn't expect me to thrive. But I did. And every part of me that wanted you back died the day you chose her over me. He stepped closer. But she left. She said I was broken. You were, I said, but not in the way you think. You weren't broken because I left. You were broken long before that. You just hid behind my stability. I left him standing there, rejected and irrelevant. That was the night I realized the closure I was waiting for had already come. He tried one last time, this time through mutual friends. He's in a dark place, they said. He talks about you constantly. Maybe he needs help. Help? Where was this empathy when he humiliated me? I told them exactly what needed to be said. He made his bed. Let him lie in it with a view of everything he threw away. I wasn't going to be his emotional rehab center just because his second act ended in disaster. The final nail came weeks later when I received notice from my lawyer. Adam had attempted to contest part of the house sale, claiming I'd manipulated the prenup. Ms. Clark laughed so hard, she actually snorted. He clearly didn't read the revised clause he signed after his second affair. The prenup's ironclad. It's over. He never had a case. Just a bruised ego. I had it all now: peace, success, freedom. And the most important thing? Dignity. So I sent him a note. Just one line: the door you slammed shut doesn't exist anymore. Stop knocking.